And we're back with Preet from DSV and Kristin Weiss from Community Living Mississauga. So Preet, tell us a bit about the successes you had with hiring persons with disabilities.
Yeah, so at DSV we believe that people are the greatest asset, and we would want to support each and everyone, and as I said before, from all walks of life. So especially if I, speak about hiring employees with disabilities and the success that we have had. So it's definitely with the support of our community partners, Discoverability as well as CLM.
And can you elaborate a little bit on that success you're speaking about?
Yeah, definitely. So when I say that is that till date, we have onboarded 17 employees with disabilities. We have faced challenges along the way. It wasn't an easy process, on training, onboarding them. But then, as Kristin has mentioned before, we had trained our leadership team on and had equipped them on how to deal with employees with disabilities. And that has really helped. And along with that, my team, they have supported our operations teams and the employees as well whenever they had any, concerns. So that's what I would say is that, having 17 employees hired, I would say is success.
Absolutely. And Kristin, how have you been involved in that success?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, when we talk from the start to the finish with the support with inclusive hiring, it's looking at those pre-screened candidates. So really providing the support to find the right matches for the role. And then from that point, we'll really help with that onboarding process. So the interviews, making sure that candidates are supported through the onboarding process. And then on the job, once someone actually starts working with an employer, specifically DSV. So
how have the candidates done? I mean, how do, for the people that you've hired, have they stayed? Has that been a success?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say the turnover, yes, we have had turnover, but that's minimal. The employees that we have, they are willing to learn other functions. They want to grow within their career. And we do have a policy of internal promotions within DSV. And of course, they have, they get the equal opportunity to apply for that. And we do see the employees, going to their operations team or, coming to HR about how they can progress within their career at DSV.
So this is about really a program that you've started, when you talk about career progression, because we hear a lot sometimes, persons with disabilities, they come into entry-level positions, but they have some difficulty in navigating careers in the workplace. So, you clearly have developed a program and the support's included. Does that involve some of the information and support you're getting from Community Living as well?
Yeah, so Community Living has supported us wherever we have required a job coach or even with the learning. So in the beginning, they had trained our leadership team, and then, going through this program, as we learned more about this program, we felt there is a different kind of training that we would need our leadership to go through once that we have this program in place, and we are working with the CLM on having that training done.
What's been the cost to DSV with working with Community Living?
Nothing. So our
how's this possible?
Our supports and services are available to businesses in the community at no cost. Typically, if there is a cost for anything, it might be for an accommodation, which is quite minimal, right? The average accommodation is below $500, and we've seen, situations where it's been as low as $20 to put an accommodation in place. So no, there's been no cost.
Great news. So what's the future for DSV and hiring people with disabilities?
Yeah, so I would say, this program is here to stay. And we are really very happy. I would say it's a fulfilling feeling that we have at DSV, that we are able to give back to the community. And then as well as, we being a diverse and inclusive employer. And the plan is to grow this program as much within the next 5 years and after. So it's a great feeling, and we will continue with this program.
Well, thank you both for joining us today, sharing the story. Keep up the great work. And we were delighted to have you today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you both.
Ontario is open for business. We are working so hard for you. We want the people who own their businesses to create as many jobs as possible. That is why we want people, no matter their ability, to find the job they want.
With every episode, we want to provide practical tips to both employers and job seekers on how to build an inclusive culture.
Yes, for organizations and employees, it's incumbent on everyone in the organization to build that inclusive environment so everyone can contribute to their best of their ability to the organization.
Yeah, and part of that is going to be using accessible tools or building accessibility into our processes and approaches to foster an inclusive culture.
You make a really good point about the processes and policies, because sometimes, as we're building those out, because we all need them in our organizations to organize our work, sometimes we create an unintended barrier. So it's extremely important we look at those policies through that inclusivity lens so that we can remove those barriers and allow people to make their fullest potential contribution to the workplace.
We also have to think about whether or not we're searching in the right places. So Discoverability Network, www.discoverability.network, was designed to connect businesses to qualified talent with a disability.
And now it's time for the last word.
The last word is, does it make sense to hire people with a disability? Of course it does.
Oh, wait a minute. Doesn't it cost too much?
No, what do you mean by does it cost too much, Lou?
Okay, talk to me about onboarding, the extra cost of onboarding a person with a disability.
Well, in some cases it may take longer, but you actually save money because people with disabilities stay longer on the job. So if you've built an inclusive training process in from the outset, it can help everybody to onboard more effectively.
How about accommodation, Lisa? That's something really hard. I don't understand it, and there are costs associated with that. You can't deny that.
Okay, let's break down accommodations. First of all, most employers already provide a wide range of accommodations to people without disabilities. 95% of accommodations in the workplace are related to personal, family, or religious reasons. Now let's talk about accommodations for people with disabilities. Only 37, slightly over more than 1/3 of people with disabilities require an accommodation. Of those that do, the majority of the accommodations are free. The next 40% are a one-time cost of less than $500.
So you're saying that accommodation helps everybody in the workplace?
Yeah, so think about some of the common accommodations, so flex hours. We've all dealt with that during the pandemic. We can talk about workplace modifications, so noise canceling headsets. I work in an open concept office. It works for everybody, not just for me. Sit-stand desks as we age, as Canada is an aging demographic, it can help everybody deal with mobility challenges.
How about sick time? Will my sick time increase?
No, in fact, people with disabilities, upwards of 80%, actually have as good of or better attendance in the workplace.
And do they stay longer in the workplace? My question
Yeah.
is,
Yes.
will people leave?
No.
So I'm constantly hiring, and the cost of hiring is pretty high.
No, one of the most compelling reasons we want to be inclusive is that people with disabilities actually tend to stay longer on the job than people without.
So Lisa, what are you telling me?
Louie, I'm telling you that when you hire a person with a disability, it's going to give you a competitive advantage as a business. We know that businesses that are inclusive of people with disabilities actually have higher profitability and improved productivity, as well as better workplace culture. 90% of people with disabilities actually meet or exceed workplace job performance. We know that 77% of businesses, small businesses that have hired people with disabilities, report that they're happy or employees have exceeded expectations. We have an ROI of $28 for every, a return on investment of $28 for every dollar invested.
Okay, can I stop you a minute? You're throwing way too many stats at me. Can you do that one more time?
Okay, so for every dollar invested in an accommodation, you're going to get a $28 return on investment.
So 28 to 1.
Yes, you're going to improve your profitability. We also know that people with disabilities have better job attendance. So it's 86% of people with disabilities have as good of or better job attendance.
So I'm not going to be concerned about sick time.
No, and in fact, you're going to have lower accident rates. Companies that have hired people with disabilities report a 40% lower accident rate and 63% lower time away from work due to accidents in the workplace.
Did you talk about productivity as well?
Yeah, it's 90% of individuals with a disability meet or exceed job performance standards.
Okay, so you're telling me that I'm going to get a really, really good employee.
Yeah, you're going to get somebody who is as good of or has higher job performance, has improved safety, who's going to be as or more productive, and who is going to miss less time away from work because of accident. As well, you're going to have an up to 72% increase in retention.
Wow. So where do I sign? I really can't argue with those stats, Lisa. I think you've convinced me. And that's the last word, and that's our episode for today.
We don't want to sign off, Louie, without thanking everybody. So I want to thank our guests, Preet and Kristin Weiss.
I'd like to thank the Government of Ontario, whose support made this program possible.
And let's thank everybody who watched us today.
And where can they find us, Lisa?
Well, they can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Higher Ability Now. They can find us on our website, www.discoverability.network. You can find us on LinkedIn, search for Discoverability Network. We have a YouTube channel, and you can also find us on Eventbrite, Honest Conversations every week, Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa. And that's it for The Outlook with Lisa and Louie. See you the next time.